It's Tuesday the 3rd of March from the MEN newsroom. This is Channel M's Lunchtime News and these are today's headlines. Jobs under threat. Now staff at Granada wait to hear about possible new cuts. Hundreds could go.
In terms of the what it gives to the local the community and the economy and the prestige that it brings as well. So if you lose something like Granada TV from Manchester, it's hitting Manchester very, very hard in a bigger way than just job losses.
Also coming up, Find My Attacker, the words of a talented young footballer who could now miss out on his chance to play.
I was making my way home to my nan's from obviously being at a friend's house, and I took a wrong turning, which took me down to Lakeland Court in Langley, where I was met by a group of lads. They jumped on my leg until they heard it crack, and then they turned to my hand, and then they jumped on my hand until they heard it crack as well. And then they just kept on kicking me.
And finding new ways to keep fit. People in Middleton get lessons in a healthier life that involves putting a smile on your face.
Laughter physically changes the way our body responds, so it releases endorphins, which is the body's happiness hormone. And when endorphins are released, lots of wonderful things happen. We relax, we feel better.
Good afternoon. First this lunchtime, staff at ITV's Granada offices are waiting to hear how many of them will lose their jobs in a new round of cuts. It's feared hundreds of positions could be lost when staff stop work on programmes, including Coronation Street, for tomorrow's announcement. And that's not the only place where redundancies are feared, as Kevin Duffy now reports.
Yes, thanks, James. Now, this news of job cuts comes hard on the heels of the announcement from Manchester Airport last week that up to 90 jobs could be going there. But this morning, we're hearing that the Equality and Human Rights Commission in Manchester is considering cutting 30 posts at its helpline service. And on top of that, and perhaps even more severely, ITV are expected to announce that up to 600 jobs could go in several of its main production centres. Now, with me is Paul Atkinson of the broadcasting trade union BEC2. Paul, what can you tell us?
Well, basically we're anticipating the announcement tomorrow and we are expecting large numbers of redundancies, unfortunately, which again come hot on the heels of the redundancies of last year, where across Granada, Yorkshire, Border TV and Tyne Tees, there was about 312 job losses between March and December last year. So we thought we were going through a restructuring last year. Now we're going through an even more severe, what seems to be a more severe cutback.
How do you think Manchester then could be affected?
Well, Manchester is going to be affected pretty badly and we expect it to be even worse over at ITV Yorkshire.
Could you give us any numbers?
We can't at the moment, but the numbers that's been floated around in the press probably will be in that region of about 500-600. I mean, it's really second guessing because, I mean, it's not just going to be Manchester and Yorkshire that's going to be affected. I think it's going to affect the whole of the ITV network as well, but the bulk of the damage we suspect may be done in Manchester and Leeds, particularly in Yorkshire. So it won't just be about cutbacks. I suspect the company will be looking to make some substantial changes as well.
Paul Atkinson, BEC2, thank you very much. Well, there you have it. And, of course, the full details of this planned restructuring in ITV will become clearer tomorrow. There's going to be a video conference, first to the staff at Yorkshire and then at 2 o'clock tomorrow to staff at Granada here in Manchester, when we should know more. Back to you.
Thanks, Kevin. 3 arrests have been made over the murder of a dad of 4 from Golborne, whose body was found in Alderley Edge. Rodney Marsh died from head injuries and had been assaulted before his body was discovered at a rural beauty spot by walkers. A man and a woman from Golborne are being questioned, along with another man from Wigan. A school pupil from Rochdale has walked out of his class in protest at having to read the book To Kill a Mockingbird, branding it racist. Tinashe Makaniki is the only black student in his class at Holy Family College in Haywood. He says he felt uncomfortable with the use of certain language in the GCSE set text, despite it being widely considered an anti-racist classic. The 16-year-old says the novel made him feel inferior and undermined, and he claims his requests to read an alternative text were refused. Next, he was looking forward to taking up a football scholarship in America, but all that's now on hold after a vicious attack that's left him on crutches. 16-year-old Thomas Kingsbury is making a personal appeal for help in finding whoever did that to him and only stopped when people living nearby stepped in.
Just over a month ago, Thomas went to see his grandma in Langley. The Berry boy was a strange face in the area, and it wasn't long before he was set upon by a group of boys.
I was making my way home to my nan's from obviously being at a friend's house, and I took a wrong turning, which took me down to Lakeland Court in Langley, where I was met by a group of lads who started talking to me at first, started being all right with me, and then they asked me who I knew down in Langley. So I said a couple of people, like friends of my cousins, and then someone just come over out of the blue and stick me, and then they kept on hitting me. So then I just walked off, and then about 5 minutes later they started chasing me, and then I fell over, they jumped on my knee, jumped on my hand, and just kept on kicking me in the head, really.
It's left Thomas needing an operation to his knee, and it's also shattered his dreams to take up a football scholarship in America. He wants whoever did this to him to be brought to justice.
Well, they jumped on my leg until they heard it crack, and then they turned to my hand, and then they jumped on my hand until they heard it crack as well. And then they just kept on kicking me.
What was their reaction when they knew they were really hurting you?
Just kept on carrying on.
The attack happened on Friday, January the 30th at about 10 p.m. on Lakeland Court in Langley. Anyone with any information should call Crime Stoppers on 0800 555 111. Beverly Walkden for Channel M News.
A plane full of holidaymakers from Manchester has been delayed on its way to Egypt after the jet made an emergency landing. The passengers have had to spend the night in Athens after the Jet 2 flight lost cabin pressure and got diverted to Greece. Another plane's been sent there to allow the 192 people on board to carry on their journey. Pop star Mick Hucknall's pulled out of a TV show in Brazil after his plane made an emergency landing. He was flying from Argentina when the pressure in the cabin dropped and oxygen masks failed to activate. The plane landed safely in Sao Paulo, but the singer couldn't get a connecting flight to join his band in Rio de Janeiro. A Bolton man who faked his own death after eBay customers complained he'd ripped them off has been jailed for 2 years. Jason Hart phoned a local newspaper pretending to be his own dad, saying his son had died in a blaze at the family home after saving his parents. He was trying to put off customers who paid him more than £23,000 for goods he never had to sell. We've been speaking to one of his victims.
Well, they were absolutely devastated because they were so excited about having front row tickets and to see all the wrestlers and things. They were absolutely devastated when they thought they couldn't have them, and they couldn't comprehend why we couldn't just go and knock on the door and get these tickets from this man, because he was selling them, and it was really difficult to say, well, actually, he never had them. He never actually had the tickets in the first place.
An investigation's on after a man's body was found in a stream in Failsworth. It was discovered yesterday morning close to Daisy Nook Country Park. Police are looking for anyone who saw how it ended up at the popular beauty spot. A bus carrying the Sri Lankan cricket team has come under fire from gunmen in Pakistan, injuring 5 of the players. They're on their way across Lahore for a match. Officials there say at least 12 people were involved in the attack, which killed 5 policemen. Grenades and rocket launchers were also recovered from the scene. Gordon Brown will have his first talks with the new US President Barack Obama later. The Prime Ministers arrived in America for the meeting. One of the main topics will be how they're both trying to help their countries cope with the economic downturn. It's claimed record numbers of parents are too scared to let their children outside to play. Researchers say children aren't getting enough exercise, increasing the obesity problem because of safety fears. Claire Fallon's got the details.
It's been described as a ticking time bomb when it comes to the nation's health. Our children's waistlines are getting bigger, and the experts say that means as they get older, they're more likely to suffer from heart problems, diabetes, and a whole host of other health issues.
Years ago, this playground would have been full of kids running around and burning off some of that pent-up energy after a day at school. Today, though, it seems parents are so worried about their children's safety, they're not letting them play out. And this research claims that is one of the reasons behind the UK's childhood obesity epidemic. Do you play indoors or outdoors mostly?
Well, indoors mostly because it's a lot safer. And my mum doesn't let us out because it's like in the middle of winter and it goes dark pretty early, so...
You know, it isn't safe. The cars driving up and down our street, you know, some of them just don't care. They've not got kids. They just don't look out at all, unfortunately.
A lot of kids have computers, television, stereo, so it's like they've no reason to leave the house anymore like they used to.
According to this report, around 75% of parents think their own fears about letting their kids play out are in part to blame for weight problems among our children. It also tackles the issue of junk food. It says 80% of kids don't get their 5 a day and that 60% of parents use crisps and sweets to reward good behaviour. Experts say it's this combination of a lack of exercise and a poor diet that means the childhood obesity problem of today will carry on causing problems for years to come. Claire Fallon, Channel M News.
Right, let's take a look at the sports headlines now. Here's Mike Bradley. And Mike, I believe we're starting with some cricket news.
We are, James. Thank you very much. And it's bad news, I'm afraid, as the 4th test has ended in another draw, which means going into Friday's final test, the West Indies cannot be beaten, with the best England can hope for being a drawn series. Alistair Cook hit a career best 139 with Kevin Peterson closing on a 72 not out. In League One last night, Oldham drew 1-1 with Leeds United. Lee Hughes opening the scoring in the second half, only for Luciano Becchio to equalise 2 minutes later. Oldham up to 4th as a result and face Colchester at Boundary Park on Saturday. Tonight it's the turn of Stockport County, who are aiming to end Leicester City's 21-match unbeaten run. And that's a run which stretches back to last October. But the Hatters, they'll have to do it without Johnny Mullins, Dominic Blizzard, Carl Baker and Peter Thompson, with the Foxes welcoming back David Stockdale and Jack Hobbs. In League Two tonight, Rochdale travel to Barnet. Macclesfield visit Bradford, with promotion chasing Bury hosting Chesterfield, and that's where defender Stephen Dawson has been ruled out through suspension. Away from football, the Manchester Phoenix are in Elite League action at 7:15 this evening and host the Basingstoke Bison, and they'll be hoping for better luck than in Saturday's game against the Coventry Blaze, when they went down to a heavy defeat.
We started off the first period there kind of sitting back too much. Made a couple of mistakes, and they capitalized on all 3 mistakes and had 3 goals real quick. So, I mean, we didn't have the start we wanted at all. The second period was a little bit of a different story. I thought we were all over them, and a little bit in the third as well. So if we would have came out a little bit stronger in the first, I think it could have had a different outcome. I wasn't even watching that. I was looking up ice because I just figured that it was going to be a, simple play back there, and he was going to, pass it to one of the D-men. I don't even know what happened, but then I just saw their player Calder walk around the net and put it in the open net, which, kind of broke our backs there with us coming back. I'll probably get in the game hopefully before the Sunday game, so, Saturday looks good. Maybe a little bit Thursday, but, just want to take all precautions here and not risk injuring it anymore, because there's more important games to come.
Manchester City's Craig Bellamy, he's been ruled out for at least 3 weeks with a knee injury. Rubino will also miss tomorrow's game against Aston Villa, but Valery Bojanov could be named in Mark Hughes' starting lineup, having recovered from knee and Achilles injuries. And finally, United's Carling Cup match winner Ben Foster, he looks set to sign a new deal at the club, reported to be worth £1.5 million over 4 years. That's it from me for now, but Sam Goodman will be with you from 5 o'clock for all this afternoon's sports headlines.
Mike, thank you very much for the update. Plenty more still to come on the Lunchtime News, including the churches that are going to be getting a big makeover thanks to hundreds of thousands of pounds from the lottery, and the record attempt with a healthy eating message that's seen hundreds of youngsters eating bananas.
We thought about doing this world record attempt so that we were breaking the record of the most number of bananas ever eaten at one event in one place at any one time. In total, there are about 1,500 children that are attempting the record today.
Welcome back to Channel M's Lunchtime News. Don't forget, we're here every day from 12 till 1 o'clock with all the day's main headlines from Greater Manchester. They're always online as well at channelm.co.uk. Plenty on there right now, including our interview with the owner of the Yang Sing Hotel, which has had to shut its doors, and the new fight against gun crime here in Manchester that should make it quicker for police to check evidence. That's at channelm.co.uk. 4 churches here in Greater Manchester are to get more than £500,000 to pay for urgent repairs. The grants are coming from the Heritage Fund and the National Lottery, with more from a church in Gorton. Here's Ben Bland.
Brookfield Unitarian Church is one of those in Greater Manchester that will benefit from these grants. It's been on this site since 1871, and here to tell me a little bit more about the grant is Adrian. Adrian, just what kind of a difference will this money make?
It's absolutely essential, really, to keep this wonderful building alive. We've benefited from English heritage previously and do work on the roofs, and this will enable us to do even more work to keep this building here for future generations in Gorton.
And what exactly will the money be used for?
This particular grant will be used for work on the spire and also work to some of the stained glass windows, which have suffered quite a lot of vandalism over the years.
And what sort of plans have you got for the future of this building?
Well, essentially, our purpose as trustees of the church is to keep the building open for use as a church, but it's used by the local community of Gorton for all sorts of different reasons.
And why do you think this grant is important, and how will it affect people who don't necessarily come to the church here?
Well, this church is integral to the history of Gorton. It was built by Richard Peacock, who of course had the Bear Peacock locomotive factory here in Gorton, and it will keep the church here for future generations, as again keeping that link with the history of Gorton.
Okay, Adrian, thank you very much. And this is one of 4 churches in Greater Manchester that will benefit from the grants. The others include St Peter's in Ashton-under-Lyne, St Stephen and All Martyrs in Bolton, and St Mary's in Stockport. The total 11 grants for the North West, altogether worth £800,000.
Students from Manchester University who've now been handed this year's University Challenge title say their win feels hollow. They've been given the trophy after the original winners, Corpus Christi Oxford, were disqualified. It turns out one of their teams shouldn't have been allowed to enter because he'd already graduated. The team from Manchester say they don't want to be named the champions under such circumstances. The process for applying for secondary school places is being criticised as being too complex for parents. Researchers say it's too difficult for mums and dads to understand, and those from less educated backgrounds are most likely to lose out. Letters are currently arriving through front doors with decisions on where children can study next year. Well, what do you think of the system? Have you struggled to get your child into your first choice school? Send me a text to 88821. Start your message with the word news, or you can email newsdesk@channelm.co.uk. We'll go through some of your messages later on. Oasis have had to cancel their debut concerts in China after officials deemed them unsuitable and took back their licences to play in Shanghai and Beijing. Oasis say they're extremely disappointed with the Culture Ministry's decision. Promoters say permission to perform was lost after it was discovered Noel Gallagher had played at the Free Tibet benefit gig in America in 1997. The rest of the band's tour of the Southeast Asia area will go ahead as planned. Sir Bobby Charlton has received the Freedom of Manchester. Among those watching the Manchester United and England legend receive the accolade at the Town Hall was current manager Sir Alex Ferguson, himself a freeman of the city. Many of the United team who won the Carling Cup were also there. Sir Bobby, who's now 71, spent more than 5 decades with the Old Trafford club as a player and now director.
Well, I was very surprised. It's not the sort of thing that you think is going to happen, but when they asked me at the club, you know, that said that the town hall had been on and they wanted to do this, was I agreeable? I was really very proud. I do love the city. I've been here since I was 15, and it's always been good to me. I've always been very proud of it, and whenever people ask me around the world, you know, where you come from, you say, well, I work in Manchester, and I'm very proud about that.
Next, if you thought the only way to get yourself healthier was to spend hours in the gym, think again. An event's been taking place in Middleton to show off the range of activities people can get involved in. The Live Life show is all about helping people realise what a wide range of things are on offer for those who need a push in the direction of a healthier lifestyle. As well as traditional sessions in exercise involving gym-style workouts, there were plenty of other physical activities on show as well. People could try their hands at Tai Chi. There were sessions from professional football coaches. Plenty of activities for children to get involved in as well. Other exercises that were demonstrated made use of cheaper equipment that's easier to get hold of than the sort of things you might get at a proper gym. There are also sessions on improving your diet to give people ideas of healthier meals and drinks they can prepare, and looking at reducing blood pressure and cutting cholesterol. If all that sounds like a bit too much hard work, there was a lighter side to it as well.
A good old giggle keeps you happy and fit, according to this laughology expert. She's come to the new Middleton Arena for the Live Life exhibition, which is encouraging people to get healthy. Just tell us what laughter does to the brain. I mean, how does it lift our mood?
Well, laughter is actually a physical response and humour is the cognitive response. So laughter physically changes the way our body responds. So it releases endorphins, which is the body's happiness hormone. And when endorphins are released, lots of wonderful things happen. We relax, we feel better. And when we laugh, it also releases serotonin in the brain, which is the part of the brain which releases humour as well. So when we laugh, it actually exercises the brain to be able to think more clearly, and it brings oxygen to the brain as well.
Beverly Walkden for Channel N News.
Staying with the health-conscious theme, Bolton has gone bananas. As well as teaching youngsters how to eat better, it's also part of a promotion for Fair Trade Fortnight and a chance to get into the record books.
We thought about doing this world record attempt so that we were breaking the record of the most number of bananas ever eaten at one event in one place at any one time. In total, there are about 1,500 children that are attempting the record today, which is quite something. And we had such a tremendous response from all the schools that we thought it's a shame just to bring them here just to eat a banana. Why don't we do some education on the back of that, some fun activities where we can get the message out about fair trade. And so in the Premier Suite we've had all sorts of activities going on throughout the day. Tonight we've got lots of different stalls that are coming and markets, and there are people that sell all fair trade products throughout the world.
The rest of the afternoon's looking like being wet and windy across most parts of our area. With the forecast and a look ahead to the rest of the week is Michelle Eagleton.
Well, it's not been the most pleasant of Tuesdays, I have to say. We've seen a fair bit of rain this morning, some really dark cloud, and it's been chilly as well. Highs are between 7 and 8 degrees for most of us. Now, this afternoon, it is going to continue all that wet weather, I'm afraid. Hate to be the bearer of doom and gloom, but let's take a look at the picture this morning and see exactly what was going on. Now, as I say, you did see a fair bit of showers really coming in and out, so it was good to have a brolly to hand this morning, and some of that cloud has lifted now that we've moved into the afternoon. But what I will say is by this evening, about 6-7 o'clock, we are going to see some really blustery showers creeping in with a lot of that rain, so not the nicest of nights at all. Staying like that overnight into tomorrow, which is going to be a mixture of sunshine and showers expected for Wednesday. I know Thursday is going to remain very wet as well, but not too bad on Friday. A fairly dry day, lovely and sunny with highs of 8 degrees, so worth waiting for.
You're watching Channel M's Lunchtime News. Our main headlines this afternoon. It's feared hundreds of jobs could be about to go at ITV, with the network's offices at Granada here in Manchester being hit. An announcement's due to staff tomorrow, but unions tell us they're concerned at the latest cuts being considered. 3 people are being questioned over the murder of a man in Alderley Edge. Dad of 4, Rodney Marsh from Golborne, was found dead with head injuries at the end of last week. And a boy of 16 has told the Lunchtime News how an attack has left him on crutches and could stop him taking up a football scholarship in America. Thomas Kingsbury is now making a personal appeal for help in finding whoever was responsible for that. We'll have more on all those stories in our early evening news with Andy Crane from 5, but from me and the rest of the Lunchtime team, have a good afternoon. Bye-bye for now.